Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Holistic Health Show. It's been a while, and I'm really excited to be back with you today. We have another guest on the show, Jodi Scholes, and she's the author of Body Blueprint. Now, today we're going to talk about pain. And as you all know, I love it when the guests introduce themselves because who knows them better but them. So, Jodi, I'd love for you to hop right in and tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and talk about the book.
Absolutely, Amy. Thank you for having me. My name again is Jodi Scholes, and I'm the author. I am 30 years a licensed massage therapist, and I've drawn on that experience of over 20,000 individual sessions to share some wisdom about the body in the book, The Body Blueprint. It is a book about how, well, the subtitle is How Your Pain May Be Telling a Story. And so I love to dig beyond the surface, beyond just the physical pain, and look at potentially the mental stress or the emotional stress that might be making the pain worse. And that's what this book explores, something that in traditional medicine they call the biopsychosocial model.
Our pain could be caused from something that's mental or emotional rather than, I bumped my arm or something hit me. Of course, those things will cause pain, but perhaps maybe there's a chronic pain with an underlying symptom that's not necessarily physical.
Exactly. And in Eastern medicine, they talk about how the body is a map. And so that's why I named the book The Body Blueprint, because we can look at the body. And in fact, I love how the Holistic Health Show intersects traditional medicine with other medicine, energy medicine, and Eastern philosophies. In traditional Chinese medicine, we look at energy medicine and we look at the body in a little bit of a different way. And I invite the reader to explore what if a mental stress is showing up in the body in a very specific way. Can I offer an example?
Yeah, I would absolutely love that.
So let's say, for example, there's shoulder pain. Well, shoulders represent responsibility, the weight of the world on your shoulders. And so when there's chronic shoulder pain, we look at rotator cuffs and deltoid problems and joint problems. But then we also take a look at is there an imbalance in the responsibilities in your life? Are there responsibilities that you have that you willingly took on, but now maybe are starting to kind of say, I wish I didn't have to do that? And so there are questions to be asked around each body part. And so for the shoulders, we look at the weight of the world on your shoulders, the responsibilities in your life, and where are the imbalances, if there are any.
And I'm thinking when you talk about the map of the body, my mind immediately went to, the meridians. Like when you think acupuncture, it's kind of mapped out in a sense where they put the needles in specific spots for specific ailments. Is that what you kind of mean when you talk about the body as a map?
Absolutely. So, from a point of view that incorporates meridians, it also incorporates like the energy centers of the body, the chakra system of the body. And we know that when there are imbalances, that it shows up as dis-ease and sometimes as disease. But there is, if you take the map out just a few more steps, you see that Eastern medicine has outlined this stuff for like 2,000 years. But in the West, or if we didn't grow up with Ayurvedic medicine, those types of Eastern philosophies or traditional Chinese medicine, we don't get much exposure to that. Another kind of fun example is that, now and then my clients will come, oh, I've got such a crick in my neck. I've got such a pain in my neck. Well, what we find is that oftentimes that pain in the neck actually has a name, and that in a metaphysical way, in an energetic way, it's manifesting in a physical way in our bodies.
I recently heard someone say, if you go to your doctor and they're offering you tablets and tablets and tablets and not looking at the root cause, which is kind of where the Eastern medicine really falls into play, then you have a drug dealer, not a healer. And that really spoke to me. You see people just taking tablet after tablet and causing more symptoms, but never fixing, maybe temporarily relieving pain and things like that. So when you're talking about this body blueprint, you're talking about getting down to the root cause whether that be physical, mental, emotional. So, what does that look like? If I come to you and I have shoulder pain and we start talking about my responsibilities, or maybe this person in my life who's a pain in the neck, where do you go from there? How do you begin that journey of discovery?
Ooh, the loaded question. I love it. So we explore by going to the quiet. We explore by going into a time where there's no distractions. For some people, that's meditation. For other people, that's a walk in nature. And for some people, it's the shower, because that's the only place in their life right now that things are quiet.
I do my best thinking in the shower.
I was going to say, there's a reason that good ideas happen in that quiet space where there aren't interruptions. And so to cultivate some quiet is a great place to start. And we can even ask our body, what am I supposed to be learning? Is there a lesson in this? If there's a lesson, please make it really obvious. That's usually the way I ask. I'm like, if there's a lesson in this, please, it's going to have to be super obvious. And to then listen, because we can ask and then, get busy again, or we can ask and sit. And so, even in maybe if yoga is something that, is comfortable for your listeners, those are some places where we can really explore our inner landscape to see what's eating at me. I mean, because isn't that all disease? Something that eats at you? And so we bring that forward. So we start with the cultivating the quiets. Yeah. And then there's usually one answer that comes up all the time.
And that itself is a hard step, sitting in the quiet. I don't know if you saw this particular episode. There was a woman on the show, Lindsay, and she had read, I don't know if it was a study or an experiment, but it asked people, what would you rather do? Sit quietly with your thoughts for 15 minutes or receive an electric shock? And there was no definition of this electric shock. There was no saying of, how high or how hard that shock would be. Most people selected the electric shock because they did not want to sit quietly with their own thoughts. And I found that really eye opening. And it can be hard. It's a difficult thing to face yourself. You face your fears, your doubts, sometimes your reality as it is in the moment. It's such an important step. I really believe that in life, we're presented with the same situation or we make the same mistakes until we learn from it. It may not be day after day after day, but if you find yourself in a similar situation, feeling the same way you felt last year sometime, then maybe you didn't learn from that lesson last year when it was presented to you because you didn't take the time to sit with it, as you're saying.
It's very true. Very true. And we get the lesson over and over again until we get it.
And isn't that frustrating?
That's where the body comes in, because then the body sometimes stops us in our tracks and says, no, you're not going to be able to go, go, go. You're not going to be able to wear 10 different hats. You're not going to be able to be all things at work, all things at home, because we're going to stop you in your tracks so that you have a chance to think about this. And sometimes that's what's happening with chronic pain or with pain in general, that it's the body trying to get our attention.
It's kind of screaming at us, isn't it?
It can be. And sometimes it is, hey, your appendix is about to burst. Yeah, sometimes it is that. But more so, it's a way that the body has to relieve the mental or emotional stress. In fact, in the 70s, there was a movement to look for traditional Western medicine or traditional medicine to look at the biopsychosocial model. And I write about that in the book. And you mentioned, hey, if you go to the doctor and, all I want to do is give you a tablet, then how can we as patients, as clients, initiate the conversation about, hey, we got to look beyond my biology on this one. I'm really stressed out about this. In fact, gastroenterologists, so doctors who take care of the gastrointestinal tract, the belly, over and over again when I interviewed doctors who deal with dysfunction of the digestive system, they told me that stress is a huge factor in flare-ups of irritable bowel syndrome. We know this.
Yeah.
I mean, and so When we put two and two together, we say, okay, how can we impact the stress? Well, that's where we're going to have to sit for a minute.
For some people, again, it's even harder than diet modification or lifestyle changes. It's the sitting with yourself.
Well, and you in the entry level points of meditation or just sitting, we do kind of a body scan and just see, okay, how's my body actually feeling? How am I feeling? And then we introduce the breath. In fact, in every chapter of my book, I give an exercise to address the symptom, to address IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, to address neck pain, low back pain, to address these things. And we have a series of questions in the book as well that help to investigate. Is this more than just physical? Is there a story?
And it's great that you offer that because you really do need guidance when on this journey, whether you're experienced, you've done it, you're used to checking in with yourself or not. Guidance really is key just to help you see a little differently, perhaps, than you would otherwise. And you mentioned about this check in, and I'd almost encourage everyone listening right now, just pause, however you're listening, and ask yourself, when is the last time I took a second and checked in with myself? And I bet you so many people will say, I've just been so busy. I haven't had time. I haven't done my meditation practice or my self Reiki practice or, my 10 or 15 minutes quiet walk or even had a long hot shower. When was the last time you did that and listened to your body and your mind? You'd
Mm,
probably be surprised.
beautiful invitation, Amy, to just pause. And in that pause, consider the breath as well. Sometimes just taking a nice deep breath, holding it for 2 or 3 seconds, and then exhaling, maybe even exhaling with a little noise like it can help to reset the nervous system. And that's where we get a little of that frantic energy, that frantic feeling is from our nervous system. So calming down our nervous system is very beneficial, even if it's only temporarily. And sometimes my clients are a little resistant, about this whole body, mind and emotions. And so I like to frame it in both ways, that we look at also the biopsychosocial. So in traditional medicine, in medicine itself, they look at our biology. They take blood tests, we get MRIs, they look at our biology. But when we look at the biopsychosocial, what's happening with our psychology? What's happening mentally? Are we facing a big deadline? Are we really having to stretch at work? Do we have to wrap our minds around something? And then also social, biopsychosocial. What's happening socially? Have we lost a job? Have we had to move? And are we divorcing our partner? Is there something happening that there's a social pressure as well? Because these do affect our body's perception of pain.
And I think too, when you were talking about the social, I'm reminded of overcommitting to social events even. It's fun and it's relaxing to go with friends and socialize, but I find that there can be a line where you're overcommitting yourself and suddenly you feel like you have to be attending every event and it's not going well for you. You're not getting your rest. You're underperforming then at work because you're tired and you're thinking about what you have to do next.
Yes, absolutely. You're just dumping all that energy. There was a doctor in Japan who's researching social pressures. In fact, he's researching something specifically called the broken heart syndrome. That's now called Takasubo syndrome after this doctor. And broken heart syndrome is when couples who've been married for quite some time and one of the partners passes away. There's an uncanny phenomenon that the other partner too often passes away within 6 months. Colloquially, it's called broken heart syndrome. And doctors are now studying it because this social change, this emotional event, has actually caused a physical symptom. So these are things that, when we look at that social pressure, whether it be to dump all our energy, or we've had a massive change that we went everywhere with the same person for the last 40 years, and now we're going alone. It's a real shift in the body's ability to adapt.
Jodi, I know that you're graciously offering listeners the map, the body blueprint map. And I want you to please direct them to where they can get that.
Absolutely. So the body blueprint map is a cheat sheet on what do the body parts mean. And that can be found on my website. It's my name, jodischoles.com, or you can type in bodyblueprint.com to get to the same site. And on that site, you'll see the body blueprint map. And when you sign up for my newsletter, you actually get a free PDF of the body blueprint map, the cheat sheet on, okay, what questions could I be asking myself about the knees, about the low back, about the ankles, about the wrists. So all of these things, about headaches, about IBS. There's a cheat sheet that you can get to dig a little deeper to see if there's anything under the surface.
I'm going to go get that right now for sure. And next time some of my friends complain about particular ailments, I think I might send them in your direction to have a look at this cheat sheet and see just what might be causing it. So thank you so much. That's a valuable PDF that you're sharing with everyone today. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. Yeah, it's like the cliff notes for the book.
That's perfect. Everybody loves a Cliff Notes version. But I am excited as well. I know that your book is currently for sale. Where do we get that?
Yeah, there's links on the website to both Amazon and Barnes & Noble, depending on where your favorite bookstore is. You can ask at your local bookstore for them to be ordered. They're globally available. The ebook is also available. And in 2025, the audiobook will be available too, in case that's your jam. Plus, we do some guided meditations in the audiobook that are, of course, written, in the book. But I love the idea of being able to guide people through a meditation.
Yeah, I look forward to that. And Jodi, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us today?
I just want to encourage people that there's always hope. We all know someone, well, I shouldn't say we all know someone. Many of us know someone who is in chronic pain, who is absolutely having physical symptoms, and yet the doctors can't tell them why. And so I would encourage people to maintain hope that the answers are on the way, and there is a pathway to health and to a vibrant life, to pain-free living.
Thank you, Jodi. And I hope that that resonates with somebody listening here today. And for all you listeners, everything that Jodi mentioned today will be linked in the description of the episode, so you don't have to look too hard for it. But remember, you can always search bodyblueprint.com and you'll get straight to all those resources. Thanks again, Jodi. I loved having you on the show today. Thanks for joining me on the Holistic Health Show and trusting me to guide you towards proactive healthcare. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe now on your favorite podcast platform and get ready to embark on an incredible journey toward holistic wellness. Until next time, be well and stay holistic.